right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Joshua Miller, and today we have corporate executive chef David Binkle from the award winning pizza oven company Marra Forni, which is built and based, believe it or not, in Beltsville, Maryland. Chef David, amongst a handful of certifications, is also a certified executive pastry chef, so you can say he knows a thing or two about what it takes to make a great pizza. Chef David, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And to kick things off, tell us, what is your go to comfort food or guilty pleasure snack?
Well, first off, Chef, thank you so much for allowing me and Marra Forni to be part of this podcast. We appreciate it so much, spreading the word and the gospel about our company. My guilty go-to pleasure is the guilty go-to pleasure of everybody, and that is Krispy Kreme donuts.
Love
When
it.
you see that sign and you're driving by, a lot of people make a right turn and head straight in to get one that's fresh and hot. They just have a terrific marketing plan and also a terrific product. And, it is a guilty pleasure for most people and one for me as well.
I couldn't agree more. I'm guilty of it. Whenever I pass through Pennsylvania, I always try to hit that exit to get some Krispy Kreme and bring them home. They freeze well for anyone that doesn't know that. All right. So, just to kick things off, our first question here, let's ask, and if you can answer for our audience here, what are the top one or two mistakes that you see a lot of cooks and chefs making with their pizzas? In terms of when you walk into a program, you might have pet peeves like, I wish people would stop doing this or start doing this. What are those top one or two items?
Well, in terms of college and university and all the various different segments, on the institutional side of food service, it is a real challenge
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a variety of different types of programs that people have, whether it's an all-you-can-eat program, whether it's an a la carte program. Then you have different day parts from breakfast to lunch to snack to evening meal to
Mm-hmm.
late night snack. Then you have all the
Yeah.
various different things that you throw into it, like exam week and all those things. So the
Mm-hmm.
challenges are different at different places. And I would say probably the biggest challenges that we see out there is not only making pizza, but also having the pizza be the correct temperature, the dough temperature, in terms of having the specific dough temperature that you want it to be around 69, 70 degrees when it goes into the oven. So I
Mm.
see a lot of pizza that either is overproofed or it hasn't been properly temped and tempered. So that's one of the challenges that we see out there in the industry across this country as well as into other countries that we do in the college and university segment is actually the dough temperature. The
Mm.
other challenge that we see is really the throughput of getting pizza to the customer in a way that really the students or the faculty, administration, the customer, the guests don't either have to wait for pizza to be made or they don't want to have pizza that's been sitting, on a table for 10,
Mm.
20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And so getting the throughput right, whether that program, is a slice program or whether it is a smaller personal size pizza, those are the biggest challenges, that I see in all the ingredients right, to get all of the dough temperature right, whether they're purchasing a product, as a frozen par baked product, or they're purchasing something that is a raw product. Some products have to be cooked and baked directly from the freezer. Some have to
Mm.
be slacked and tempered overnight, and some there are places that are making their own dough. So the types of ingredients that go into it is really a challenge. So when people think pizza, they think it's very simple and very easy to do because everybody loves it. And,
Yep.
worldwide, roughly 10% of menus worldwide in all segments have some sort of pizza on the menu.
Mm.
Because it is such a high profitable item in college and universities. It really is one of those things that when you take flour and water and a little bit of salt, mix a little bit of yeast, you have a highly profitable item. So the more pizza you can feed to the students, the better it actually is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And if you paid attention, audience, he's giving tips of not things where you need to go out and purchase some big uh, piece of equipment and go out and get five more bodies on your pizza station. He just gave you tips that you can implement starting like today, starting tomorrow. Quick and easy things that you can start out with. To slowly take those steps to make improvements. So moving on to our next question here: does wood fired pizza make any impact versus non-wood fired pizza? I'm saying wood fired everything everywhere, so I have to ask that.
Sure, sure. And wood fired, is the same, really going down the same path as coal fired. We have a number of coal fired customers as well
Mm-hmm.
that use a variety of different types of pressed beech wood, or they use a variety of different types of charcoal, anthracite coal, for an example. So the challenge with college and university, whether it's wood fired or whether it's coal fired or any type of, fuel source like that, it really becomes a challenge because most of the college and university segments, they don't allow live fire in a lot of facilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when you start talking about the differences of what wood fire does to a pizza, what coal fire does to a pizza, you really have to kind of look back at those in this country, and I'll just use this country, as the example. When you're talking New Haven with places like Sally's of Beats or Frank Pepe's, and these ovens, Little Rendezvous, for an example, those New Haven style pizzerias, those ovens, some of them are 100+ years old, right? And
Wow.
they're burning anthracite coal in there, and the fire continues to burn. And so, does it make a difference in something like that? Absolutely, it does, but it also goes to the formula of what's in the dough, how they're preparing that product with the live fire that they have. I will say this, that if you're talking about something, like a wood fired oven and trying to
Mm-hmm.
make a Neapolitan type of pizza, which typically is, very high heat, 800 plus degrees, you're baking it in such a quick timeline of 60 to 90 seconds type of thing, maybe 100 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't really impart the flavor that you think it would, such as if you're making something similar to a New York style or pizza classica or something like that that has olive oil in it. That's a longer bake time at a lower temperature. The
Mm.
challenge that we see with wood fire is having the ability for wood fire to be able to be a consistent deck temperature to make consistent pizza or other baked products from opening to closing. And so there's a lot of wood fired pizzeria companies, a lot of wood fired pizzeria shops that are actually changing to a gas assist and a
Mm.
wood fire for specifically the ambiance. Because one thing we all love is to see live flame, whether
Yep.
it's grilling or whether it's smoking, whatever
I'm a
it
little
might
bit
be.
of a pyro.
We need to see that flame. And flame sells, it
Mm-hmm.
sells your product. So having something that gives you that appearance, such as a brick oven with a gas assist, in a college and university where you can see a flame that you may not be able to put wood in there, you may not be able to put a charcoal log in there, but you can definitely get flame and you can definitely get that ambiance. So it depends on the style. To answer your question, it really depends on the style and how long of time that product is in the oven baking, to get the color that you're looking for,
Yeah.
because it can impart flavor if it's in for a while. But what it does do, and we hear this and see this all the time with customers that are wood fired, specific, um, pizzerias or restaurants, we hear and see this all the time. It makes a difference to your senses when you walk in and you smell the wood. And it makes a difference in terms of the senses of what type of wood it is. If it's a barbecue shop that's doing mesquite wood, or if it's, a cherry wood that may be here in Maryland,
Yeah.
it does give you different senses.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I have to ask that because I'm seeing all these wood-fired appliances for home, and there's even wood-fired chain restaurants out there popping up. And I've always questioned, am I getting as much flavor as I feel like I should be? Because of again, that it's almost like a key word there, wood-fired. And yes, it does. Absolutely agree. The ambiance it definitely contributes to, but definitely good to hear that, especially if you're going for that Neapolitan style. May not be worth it as much as we may think it is. So great to hear that. So uh, in terms of anyone that might be in the market of either purchasing a pizza oven or thinking about it, when would you recommend a deck oven over a brick oven, or vice versa?
Yeah, we get a lot of those types of questions. Is what do you think is right for me? In fact, I was just talking to a company yesterday that took over a restaurant in Denver, Colorado, and he was asking the same question: is this the right piece of equipment? I bought this restaurant and it's got this brick oven in it, but I don't know if it's the right capability. So the bottom line comes down to the menu, right? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that you're actually wanting to prepare? And then what's the versatility of that menu? Because we do see a lot, and it's happening a lot with a lot of brewery chains right now. In fact, I have a brewery coming tomorrow from Ohio, and part of it is they want is one or two or three things to add to a menu, so they don't have to keep bringing a food truck in
Mm-hmm.
and paying out part of their revenue profits, or having to pay or give part of that check average away. So it comes down to how big is the menu, what is it that you're actually preparing on the menu. If you're preparing or having to prepare multiple items on the menu, then you really want to look to a deck oven because of the versatility of being able to have independent cavities, right? You can get
Mm-hmm.
a stackable series oven, one, two, three, four decks high, by, two, three, four pan wide, right? Sheet pan. So you can put a lot of versatility in there.
Yeah.
When you're looking at a brick oven, and typically a dome style brick oven, back to 2,000-year-old history of Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii and Naples and all those types of things in terms of history.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it depends on what you have. So, for an example, if you're wanting to make um, Roman, or you wanted to make Sicilian, you wanted to make grandma, you wanted to make a tavern style, or you wanted to make, Detroit or something like that with all these different pans, then it becomes, how do I put all these pans, configuration into the dome to make it work? Does it work? Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
absolutely works, but it requires different thought process in terms of prep and advanced planning of par baking, and we see that a lot with a lot of different pizzerias that have dome ovens. So I would say, from a college and university standpoint, if the oven is accessible and visible to the students, then you want a Neapolitan style oven, even if you're just finishing product in there that have been sous vide, or that, you're preparing something that is finishing a Detroit pan pizza or whatever. That's a huge impact. I think that most college and universities have missed the mark in terms of how they can make a lot more pizza product in a deck oven, if you will, whether it's a Baker's Pride, or whether it's a Pizza Master, or whether it's a Marra Forni. They're missing the boat on pan pizzas because it's such an easy thing to prepare in advance, and it's such a high profitable item that they could take all of the um, you know products that they've got left over, vegetables, meats, things, and they could prepare those into pan pizzas, and they would save so much money, cut down on the waste, sustainability would be there. The pan pizzas in the college and university segment and the K-12 segment is the biggest opportunity there is, and I will say most.
Hmm.
95 to 98% of colleges don't realize that that's their sweet spot, not making round pizzas by the slice. It really is. Pan pizzas are the thing that will give them the most um, accessibility of having, especially with labor saving needs right now because of labor issues, is something that you can prepare and you can proof the dough, all day long and bake it and have it ready for the next day. That all you do is just in the oven and cut it and put it out, and you don't need any staff. We're seeing a lot of that in the bar business right now. We're
Hmm.
seeing a lot of bartenders that have become pizza makers because at 11 o'clock at night, it's an easy sell, but there's not a cook there. There's not a pizza maker there. Or if they are, they're cleaning the kitchen. And so it's something that's very simple to fire off a pan pie that you could have the bartender just take it one minute, bring it out, and you've got a sale there of $10 to $20, and
Yeah.
you get three or four customers, and pretty soon you got a $100 hour going, and you haven't done anything but just heat up pizza. And so it's like a lot of things. People like pizza better the next day, right?
Yeah.
So I think from that, when it goes back to your question about the stackable or the electric or gas or deck oven versus brick oven, it's like anything comes down to the menu, right? The
Love it.
versatility of that menu.
Yeah, and I was going to ask another question, but I think you already answered it with that, which is how can a college maximize the operation of their pizza oven, their pizza station, and it goes back to that versatility, right? Where you
It
can put in a deck oven, especially different products, different temperatures, and now all of a sudden that pizza station is pumping out a whole new menu for their late night, possibly, right?
Well, yes, and the thing that, in addition to that, from a versatility standpoint, is you got to look for things that are fast, easy, and cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't cost a lot of money to make. And the fastest, easiest way is to go back to the history of pizza or the history of pizza, and to breads, right? And to look at different origins of bread. So the easiest, fastest thing to make in terms of the versatility are things like naan bread, euros, tacos, all those types of things, breadsticks,
Mm-hmm.
that are so easy.
Perfect. And so, in terms of if people still have questions or they wish that they had more resources available to them to help improve their pizza making process or their pizza program, what resources are available for them?
Well, there's all kinds of resources out there, and obviously the one that people go to is YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And we have a pizza school here as part of Marra Forni called Pizza University, which there is a fee to it, but in terms of free resources, many of those master pizzaiolos that teach here in Beltsville, they also are on YouTube, and are giving all kinds of instructional and demonstrations. We just had the last 3 days, Leo Spazzeri here from Chicago, Master Pizzaolo, and world renowned Pizzaolo, AVPN certified Pizzaolo. And the thing about it is, with Leo Spazzeri, you can catch him at Ask Chef Leo, and he'll respond to you. So if you have a specific question, certainly could reach out to us at marraforni.com. But places that I would go to are directly to the YouTube channel to look for those resources. There's plenty of Master Pizzaiolos showing you how to, slap pizza. They're showing you how to make pizza. They're showing you how to formulate pizza. They're showing you all kinds of things that don't cost a lot of money. The difference
Nice.
is, in terms of the resources that locations have currently, the types of ovens that they have, most places the ovens don't get hot enough. So even if you're trying to use a combi oven or you're trying to use a convection oven, which, for schools in K-12, the convection oven is the worst thing that you could possibly make any kind of hearth bread with, pizza or anything, putting it on a sheet pan. And they know the difference between good product and bad product. And so if you can make pizza right in schools, and we do have a lot of K-12 customers. We have a lot of customers with brick ovens in the dining room because they realize that competition, is fierce out there for the students, and it doesn't matter if it's a free or reduced program or whether it's a paid program. Pizza is an important part of feeding the kids and the school. When the teachers want to reward the kids, oftentimes, well, we're going to have a pizza party, um, and then they'll bring in pizza from fast food pizza, right?
Yeah.
And instead
Yep.
of buying it from the school because they just don't think it's a good enough pizza. And the resources are out there. Another quick resource is Modernist Cuisine, Modernist Pizza. They have a number of podcasts, History of Pizza, and they have a terrific series called Modernist Pizza, 1,500-page
Mm.
3-volume binder that is available, on all of your uh, book purchases like Amazon. But Modernist Pizza podcast is a terrific one to hear. The group out of San Francisco that talks about pizza and the history and origin of all the various different styles, and they have a lot of guests that come on the show.
Nice.
So those are some resources that are free that are out there. And then obviously we have a number of different types of programs here, whether they're professional or that they're personal programs. We do recreational classes here. We have birthday parties. We have team building events. We do pizza
Sweet.
wars here. So a lot of different things at pizzauniversity.org.
Love it. And so, speaking of which, can you just share how can people connect with you, get to learn more about Marra Forni offers? What's the best way to connect?
Yeah, so the best way to connect is just go to our website. We have two different websites. One is www.marraforni.com, and the other is www.pizzauniversity.org.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on and sharing some great information. And hopefully, the audience is going to take away some great tips and check into some of those resources that are available to them. And I have to say, if you didn't get any value out of this, that you must have the best pizza.
We
and
want to come check it out.
yeah, yeah, come in. Let us come and check it out. And other than that, everyone, thank you for tuning in for another episode. You are all RAF ambassadors. Thank you. Welcome again. If you're a part of the remarkable academic food landscape, no matter what your role is, you are an ambassador. And thank you. And until next time, this is your host, Joshua Miller, and our guest, Chef David, signing off.